Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the zodiac sign Cancer and celebrities, and I'm going to be using examples for Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon, and Cancer Ascendant celebrities. So anyway, first thing up is, well, as far as us Cancer celebrities go, one that certainly comes to mind is the former late great actor Alan Thicke. He played the dad on the TV sitcom Growing Pains. Now, Cancer, as many of you may know, is the zodiac sign associated with the home and family. Now, on the show, he played a character where the home and family played a dominant and integral role in his life scheme. On one episode, when the home was burglarized, he was very concerned about safety and security for the family. Now, safety and security is obviously very characteristic of the zodiac sign Cancer. Now, as I've stated in previous videos, I do believe that actors and actresses may often gravitate to roles that correspond with their astrological energies, even if it's just on a subconscious level, if nothing else. Now, the thing is, too, another person that comes to mind I see as a prototypical Cancer celebrity is actor David Hasselhoff, who has a Cancer sun. And on the television series Baywatch, he played a lifeguard, and his role was one of a very protective character. Being by the water is also very typical for the zodiac sign Cancer. And of course, Cancer is notorious for being one of the biggest rescuers of the zodiac. And of course, when you're in a lifeguard position, part of your job duties and description is rescuing people who may be drowning. So anyway, well, another example is, I think, a good example as far as the zodiac sign Cancer celebrities go is actor Mel Gibson. Now, Mel Gibson, many of you may have seen him on, he has a Cancer Ascendant, by the way. Mel Gibson, many of you may have seen him on the Lethal Weapon movie series, which is, of course, iconic, I believe. And, he played somewhat of a whimsical character on that show, but he played a more serious character in the movie Ransom, where he obviously showed he was a very strong family man and protective of his son. And it was somewhat of a famous scene in the movie where he said something like, "Give me back my son," and he said it with so much emotion. It seems like a lot of that Cancerian energy was coming out in that scene, and even in the role itself in general. Now, the thing about it is, another example I want to talk about is actor John Travolta. Now, John Travolta has a Cancer Ascendant, and some of you may remember, even though he's more well known for like the movies Grease and of course the iconic Saturday Night Fever, he also was in a movie called Blowout, and in the movie he played someone that tried to help solve a murder by listening to an audio tape with much persistence and tenacity. And tenacity is a quality I think is very synonymous with the zodiac sign Cancer. Now, another thing too is that another example is Cancer rising native Merlin Olsen played a farmer on the show Little House on the Prairie. Now, farming is a position associated with the sign. So anyway, well, as far as Cancerian celebrity athletes go, well, a couple that come to mind really are, one, Michael Jordan, who has a Cancer Ascendant, and Babe Ruth, who likely had a Cancer moon. Michael Jordan, he had such strong appeal to the United States. It's not even funny. He even when he was involved in some kind of gambling scandal or debt or what have you, whatever it had been, it really didn't seem to make that much of a dent in terms of his legacy. He seemed like, Michael Jordan seems like he's everything but impervious to anything that may adversely impact his legacy. Michael has often expressed very strong emotions, of course, synonymous with this sign. Now, the United States of America natal chart has the sun in Cancer, and Michael Jordan's Cancer Ascendant is very close proximity to the Cancer sun of the United States. Perhaps that's why maybe Michael Jordan is simply what the U.S. wanted at the time, considering the sun can reflect one's basic wants. So anyway, and going to Babe Ruth now. Now, Babe Ruth came along at a very interesting period, because when Babe Ruth came along and exploded onto the baseball scene, I mean, and at the time he joined the Yankees and he gained great notoriety and fame there, the United States was going through a Great Depression. It was a very strong tribulation that the United States had to endure at the time, and it seemed like, I mean, he seemed to have almost automatically resurrected a somewhat dejected nation and country. It was almost like he played the role of a rescuer to the United States in terms of elevating their spirits. And he likely helped, in my opinion, facilitate a floundering economy, and at the least provided a tremendous distraction for the U.S.'s monetary woes. So he certainly, I believe, superseded expectations as far as that goes. Ruth at times was actually out homering baseball teams. Now, Babe Ruth is also listed as a Cancer Ascendant on Astro.com, but it has a DD rating, so it's very questionable. But he likely did have a Cancer moon at the very least as far as Cancerian energy goes, but that is dependent on time of birth. He may have had a late Gemini moon if it was really early. He was born really early in the day, but my feeling is I think he had at least a Cancer moon, though. So anyway, well, another celebrity that comes to mind that has the zodiac sign Cancer prominent in her chart is the Octomom, and aka Nadia Solman. She has a Cancer sun, and she gave birth, as many of you may know, to octuplets, and she has a total of 14 children, actually. She also has the zodiac sign Cancer on her 5th house cusp. So, I mean, you have a fertile sign on the 5th house cusp, and you have all that Cancer energy. Her Cancer sun is located in the 5th house as well. So anyway, and remember, I always tell people not to, I mean, it's generally not to isolate things too in astrology, because, I mean, like in my case, for example, I have, many of you may know, I actually have a Cancer stellium, which is my sun, my Mercury, and my Mars, and I don't have any children. And the thing is, my 5th house of children is intercepted, and I also have, you look at that, Pluto is also in my 5th house, and I have Virgo intercepted in the 5th house as well. So I think maybe that might have a little something to do with it, maybe especially the Pluto in the 5th. I also have my Black Moon Lilith also makes a conjunction to my 5th house cusp from the 4th house cusp. So you got to factor everything into the equation. Anyway, I'm going off on a Gemini moon tangent again. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about someone else. I mean, just briefly, in a really concise, quick way. Actor Harrison Ford, many of you may know him from Star Wars renown. He has actually a Cancer sun and moon, and of course, I mean, home and family seems to be a very dominant role in his life scheme as well. He does have 5 children. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the zodiac sign Cancer celebrities. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be talking about Leo celebrities. 2 things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.